My sister used to call me for nothing, to complain about traffic, to laugh about office gossip, to ask, "Do you think I overreacted?" So when she stopped calling, I assumed marriage had made her busy. That was my first mistake. Marriage doesn't usually make people busy, it makes them careful. Kemi had always been expressive, not loud, just present. She talked with her hands, laughed in the middle of sentences, asked questions even when she already knew the answer. When she married Ibrahim, we were relieved. He was calm, polite, organized, the kind of man who says, "Let's be rational" during arguments. At the wedding, his mother hugged Kemi tightly and said,
My daughter, marriage is about wisdom. Silence saves homes.
We nodded. We shouldn't have. The first thing Ibrahim corrected wasn't Kemi's behavior, it was her tone. "Why are you explaining so much?" he asked one evening. "You talk like you're defending yourself." She laughed. "That's how I talk." He smiled. "I'm just saying, people might misunderstand." Correction disguised as concern is very effective. The comedy started small. Kemi once told me, laughing, "Imagine, Ibrahim says I use too much emoji when I text." I laughed too. But then she added, "So now I reread messages before sending." That was the first edit. His mother visited often. She never insulted Kemi. That's important. She just adjusted her. If you reply quickly, men feel challenged. A good wife doesn't explain herself too much. Too much laughter means lack of depth. Always said gently, always said smiling. By the third visit, Kemi had reduced herself without noticing. The silence didn't come suddenly. It arrived in stages. Kemi stopped finishing sentences, stopped disagreeing directly, started saying, "Anything you decide." Not because she agreed, but because disagreement now came with lectures. Long, calm lectures. "You're emotional. You're overthinking. I just want peace." Peace became a weapon. The suspense hit me one afternoon. I called her phone. Ibrahim answered. "Hello?" Not, "Hello, this is Ibrahim." Just, "Hello," like it was his phone. I asked for Kemi. "She's resting," he said. "She talks too much during the day." He laughed. I didn't. When I finally visited, the house was spotless. Too spotless. Kemi moved like someone tiptoeing inside her own life. I cracked a joke. She laughed, then immediately looked at Ibrahim. That look, quick, apologetic, told me everything. Her laughter now required permission. Later, when we were alone, I asked, "Are you happy?" She answered like she was reading a script. "I'm at peace." I asked again, softer, "Are you yourself?" She went quiet. People don't become quiet because they have nothing to say. They become quiet because everything they say is corrected. The real damage wasn't Ibrahim's control, it was the teamwork. Anytime Kemi tried to assert herself, Ibrahim's mother called. Marriage needs endurance. You're lucky your husband is calm. Don't let outsiders confuse you. Isolation dressed as advice. The turning point wasn't dramatic, it was a dress. They were running late for church. Kemi wore something simple, neat, decent, hers. Ibrahim looked at her and said, calmly, "You're not wearing that." She asked carefully, "Why?" He sighed. "This is what I mean. Too many questions." That sentence finally exposed the truth. Questions were the problem, not the dress. For the first time in months, Kemi said no. Not angrily, not defiantly, just no. The house went quiet. That was when she realized this marriage only worked when she was shrinking. She came to my house later that day. She didn't cry. She said, "Sis, I feel like a visitor in my own life." Now that's not something therapy teaches you to say. That's something pain teaches you. Healing doesn't come with sudden courage. It comes with awareness. Kemi started noticing patterns. How every calm talk ended with her apologizing. How his mother always defended his behavior as leadership. How peace always meant you must be quiet. When she fell sick and Ibrahim made decisions without asking, she finally understood. Love shouldn't remove your voice when you're weak. So, she asked for a conversation. She spoke carefully, clearly and honestly. Ibrahim listened. He didn't shout, didn't deny. He simply said, "This is how marriage works. This is how people who have been married for years run their house." That answer closed the case. Kemi didn't run. She planned. She moved out respectfully, started therapy quietly, reconnected with herself slowly. She laughed again, uncertain at first, then freely. Months later, Ibrahim said he had changed. She said, "I hope so, but I'm not ready to disappear again." Now, that's with growth. The last time she called me, she said something simple. "I didn't know how much of myself I had given away until I started getting it back." You can't even imagine how proud I am as a big sister to hear those words coming from my Kemi. Sometimes, healing is not loud courage. It is recognizing patterns early and choosing yourself before you vanish completely.